everyone, it's Mirika Abundance, and I am going to react to a live stream that I did a year ago, it says streamed 1 year ago. And so it's in German, but I'm going to instantaneously, you say instantly, translate it for you. And that was, actually I was inspired to do that by someone who is very, very, very close to me. And that person asked me, that person wanted to know, when was the turning point for you? When did you start to think differently? Like, the person wants to know how, they want to understand as much as possible. And so you are actually going to see that throughout my what I ate a year ago videos throughout this year, because that is why I make them, in order to show you what, how things changed for me, how I started differently and how I started to act differently and challenge myself more and more. And so this video was streamed, this live stream was streamed before, at the end of 2020, yeah. And you are seeing the what I ate of 2021. And so this was a little bit earlier also. And so this person asked me, I saw this video of yours, or I rewatched it, and I found that it seems like you already thought differently there, and you have to eat enough, and you already had that mindset of eating disorders are very often caused by physical, by the energy deficit itself. And so where, what is that, has anything changed since then? They don't really understand what is the difference to now, what is the big deal about my, what's the big deal, basically. And so let's just go straight into it. I was very much in denial of my eating disorder at that point still, even though, and that person who talked to me was also saying that I seem so convinced there already. And so they don't know, what exactly is it that is new about how I think about this all now. And I hope this is not too messy. Okay. So yesterday was a very special day for me. It was the 26th of October. And exactly 16 years ago, I went into eating disorder treatment. It was a day that I remember every year. I'm so slow speaking. And it's basically the worst day that I ever had in my entire life. And it really just impacted my whole existence, that time that I spent in the treatment. But as important as that time was for me, it really didn't help me as much as the recovery that I have made for myself in the last year. Due to the relapse into eating disorder that I experienced because of the parasites and all of the digestive issues that I had because of that. So that's just for those who don't know anymore. I actually really couldn't eat a lot then, and it really made my eating disorder roar again in that time. And I found myself really relapsing, and that made me think for the first time, because there was no real specific event that was happening other than besides me being in an energy deficit, and that it was like a switch turned on, and it just the ball just went rolling, and it was like I just couldn't stop it anymore. It's, yeah, and I felt very much like in those days that I'm talking about now.
Die Zeit in der Klinik damals, das war... Ich habe heute sehr kontroverse Meinungen darüber.
Do you guys notice I'm so slow in expressing? I don't know. And of course, I think you also see that I was not as well as I am now. Like, my body weight is not as well. I would never have thought that I would say this. I thought that if I weigh any more, then I'm not going to feel like I would think that it's too much. I'm pretty much, like, I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty much at least 10 kilos heavier than in this video. And it's like, wow, it's mind-blowing. I'm so slow also.
Ich bin auch dabei, gerade ein E-Book zu schreiben, da wird es auch mit reinkommen. Nämlich...
Not writing that ebook anymore. I was actually about to write an ebook about how you can recover from a restrictive eating disorder, staying vegan and eating the natural foods that we were designed to eat. I'm going to go into this, but this was very much the last straw my eating disorder held on to. It wanted me to stay in this restrictive mode that I myself labeled as abundance. But I was very much in denial about the fact that I was heavily on rules, like heavily relying on rules, heavily relying on the things that were okay for me to eat and the things that were not okay for me to eat, because I was telling myself all of the time, due to all of the years that I researched everything, that it's just, if we don't eat perfectly and like the most natural diet that Mowgli in the jungle would be eating, then we will be developing disease. And now I'm actually translating Tabitha Farah's book into German because she has like the whole different radical approach, which is the first and most probably the last ever eating disorder recovery approach that I ever will have to do again, because I have never, like, this just works, and it's the first thing that actually changes anything in my brain. And it's just in order for that to happen, I had to just face my fears, come out of the denial, and look at my fear foods as my best friends. Yes, even the animal products. Because all of the brainwashing, like, it's not that black and white that all of the animal products are so bad for us. It's not that way, and I have a lot of resources that I'm going to share with you. It's just, yeah, a whole lot has changed.
Ohne Probleme sein Gewicht, also ich glaube, das Problem ist in den meisten Fällen nicht primär, also an allererster.
So I actually wanted to say that everyone can easily maintain their weight if they just ate the perfect diet. And that is what I was actually practicing at that time. And that is a problem in itself, because speaking of anorexia, I'll say, I was so much, like, it made so much sense to me, the whole Dr. Lyle kind of style, like, where everyone is arguing that anything that is not natural to eat, like not growing on a tree, and that is not a whole food, will eventually cause a disease and will trick our body, and our bodies will just freak out and store all this fat because they cannot cope with the fact that there's not a lot of volume, but more calories and a little bit less micronutrients in some foods, you know, that are not whole foods. And so my eating disorder, and in this video, was still so blatant in my mind that I was so afraid of gaining weight. And even like 4 kilos or 10 kilos or whatever, like, I thought is less than ideal, and it would make me more prone to disease, and I just wanted to be that shining example of health and recovering from an eating disorder with the perfect diet. Because I thought, well, yes, that's all fine what Tabitha Farah and all of the other people say, but in the end you cannot change the fact that it's so harmful for you to eat unnatural things like ultra-processed foods but even animal products, right? I thought, and that is what I'm going to get into in my next reaction video, because this video is not finished at all yet. I was still so afraid of these things and so convinced that what I was doing was the only way if I wanted to be healthy, like both physically and mentally healthy. Yeah, I thought, I thought I had to decide between the two. And I was like, well, of course I want to be healthy in the long run, and I cannot deny the facts. And I thought the facts would be that, you know, anything besides a vegan whole foods diet would be causing disease in the long run, which is not the case at all. But yeah, I was so afraid that that is the truth. My eating disorder was still so afraid, made me so afraid of gaining any kind of weight, that I just really justified my actions and my dietary choices and what I was saying here to myself. Because I felt like that's the only way. We cannot just turn away our heads from the truth. That's what I thought. And I was very much immersing myself already into the Tabitha Farah videos. And something in me just so much wanted to just do exactly what she was saying, because something in me just felt we gotta do this. If we want to recover, we have to do this. Yeah, but as I said, I just didn't want it to be true, and just was so afraid that I would be, I was just afraid of the weight gain. That's all it was, and that would make me, you know, I also had like these disease fears and stuff, but the greatest of all the fears was the weight gain. I will go into more of this. This was just the beginning, into like in the next video, and give this a thumbs up if you like this video series. And you can also give a thumbs down. No problem at all. Just let me know what you think. Bye.